The moment she warned me, oh boy. And it gets silent. What the hell? I stepped into emptiness. It surprised me, but the lack of a falling sensation made it clear I didn't just walk into some hole. And so... Oh, the controller works with this game. I didn't know that. Babylon looked around the silent forest and sighed. She undid her formation, Yetsuda, returned the corpses under her command to mere cadavers, and pulled out a watch.
だいたい3時間と少しか。まあ、なかなかの手際だったと言うべきでしょうね。大丈夫？ええ、おかげで助かりました。感謝します。それはこちらのセリフでしょう。もともとこの件は私がやるべきことだったんです。
So we just made this super easy for you then.
ありがとう。助かったわ。
The rain had already stopped and the woods were shrouded in silence. If you ignored the corpses littered all over the area, it was more or less a normal forest. Wait, what? She's not here?
いえ、ここまで来たら最後まで付き合います。私としても彼女のことが気になっていますし、すでに何回も言いましたが、あなたにクラウディアを任せるのは反対ですから。
Oh, yeah, whatever.
またそれかよ。お前ほんとしつけえな。そんなんじゃ男どもに嫌われるぜ。
結構です。間違ったことを言っているつもりはありませんし、それに文句をつけるような男性ならこちらからお断りですよ。だいたいあなたはクラウディアがはぐれた時に何の気遣いも示さなかった身で、今さら何を言ってるんですか。
As much as she pissed me off, she wasn't wrong, though Claudia was important to me. In a warped way, of course. There was no denying that I forgot her whenever I grew too passionate about whatever was happening before me. That was part of my nature, and I couldn't do much about it. I wasn't good at thinking far ahead, though I had to protect the one I'd eventually consume. I generally lived in the moment and had trouble hiding it.
そうね。女の目線から言わせてもらうと、礼に足りないのは危機感かな。
Here we go, the condescending talk here.
クラウディアはいい子だし、あなたに恩義を感じているから逃げもしない。その事実にあぐらをかいているんでしょう。要するに、自分が振られるわけないと思ってる。ああ、そうですね。その通りです。たまにいますよね、こういう男。一体どこからその自信が湧いてくるのか、甚だ理解に苦しみます。 どんなに存在な扱いをしても、あいつはずっと俺のことを好きに違いないとか思ってるんでしょ。頭パーですか、あなたは。
Wow, this conversation took a very interesting turn. We definitely weren't on the same page, but they weren't wrong about me lacking a sense of danger. I took Claudia's presence for granted and thought that had never changed, so I never even considered making a mistake related to her. Since the time I'd killed Helga and experienced the greatest sense of accomplishment, my life had gone exactly how I wanted. I barely even knew what failure was. Sure, Lord Hadrid stomped me, but I consider that a blessing. Yeah, okay. I had no experience with real disgrace. Mercurius's words? Bullcrap, all of it. Deep inside, I vaguely believed that I'd never lose or be humiliated. Oh my gosh. Babylon sighed and shrugged as if to indicate I'd just asked something stupid. Wait, they're still in this forest? She signaled us to look around. Well, she wasn't wrong there.
所詮これは触媒に過ぎないということですか。家賃に屍の山がある以上、
キリがないわけですね。
Sure, we shattered and neutralized the magic animating the corpses this time, but they could easily rise again if given power once more. The source of it all was the magician. We had to find his cadaver or hideout or whatever and destroy it so it'd stop leaking the abnormality. We'd been ordered to deal with the anomaly, so going back without taking care of its true form wasn't an option.
そういうこと。だから任務はまだ途中。
Fair enough. Then let's go.
クラウディアのことは心配だけど、優先するならこちらでしょ。あの子を連れたまま虎穴に入るわけにもいかないからね。
I heaved a long sigh and nodded.
分かったよ。それでお前に当てはあるのか？
一応ね。カチンの怪異は雨と満月の日に起きると言ったでしょ。
Okay,
ここで
so
見るべきは前者。
it's not raining anymore, so does that mean it's gonna be super hard to find it now, or rain then? She was basically telling us to come to the conclusion on our own. While I tilted my head in confusion, Beatrice nodded in
わか
understanding.
りました。下ですね。
ええ、
What?
これも言ったと思うけど、きっと原因は地中にある。
Oh, okay.
元からあった危ないものの上に死体を埋めてしまったから、雨によって道ができてしまうのよ。簡単な理屈ね。
Water flows downward, and so does blood. The massacre here rejuvenated the old and withered arcane sleeping deep within the earth.
そうかい。大まか理解した。しかしだった
Well,
らど
what?
うすんだ。
Wouldn't we have to find the location of it, then dig?
最悪それも考えてるけど、まずは周辺を見て回りましょう。
例えば洞窟とか？
そんなものね。じゃあ方針も決まったところで行きましょうか。
Alright, let's go. We followed after Babylon, went down a corpse-covered hill, and began exploring the surroundings. Finding something that fit the description was no trouble at all.
ここ。
Oh, that wasn't hard, was it? Wait, what the hell? Oh, right, I forgot the buttons are switched for this game. Just as Beatrice expected, there was a slanted cave opening. Frankly, it didn't look all that special, but exploring it seemed like our best option. Plus,
クラウディアのですよね。
wait, what? Oh, you've gotta be kidding me. We found Claudia's, kerchief? Kerchief or whatever, right next to the entrance. Its presence helped me form a really simple conclusion.
俺らが死体と遊んでる間ここに避難してたわけか。まあ、あいつにしちゃ上出来だな。
またあなたはそんな適当に。さっきリザさんも言ったでしょ。虎穴かもしれないんですよ。
どうかしらね。
Alright, so we need to go in there then. Babylon placed her hand on her jaw and peered into the cave. There was one prudence in her
特
tone.
に嫌な気配は感じないし、本当にただの洞窟なのかもしれない。
But we need to double
た
check
だ
though.
人間には反応しないだけってこともある。いずれにせよ。
Correct, let's
わ
go.
からないわね。
つまりこうか。俺らみたいなもんが入った瞬間、中の状況が一気に変わる可能性もある。
だからここであまりクラウディアに意識を割くなと。
そうね。気になるでしょうけど、呼びかけたりはしないように。念を入れて悪いこともないでしょう。中の者がクラウディアに気づいてないなら、あえて気づかせる必要もないということ。
Good point. If you ask me, she was being needlessly cautious, but there was a logic in her words. After all, sensors were used to spot threats. A castle of a magician would never recognize mere women and children as such. And if Claudia slipped by unnoticed, it was best if she stayed that way. Though honestly, a part of me thought that giving her a bit of a scare would be for the better. Yeah, dude, shut up.
わかった。それじゃあさっさと入ろうぜ。俺らには牙を向いてくるかもしれねえが、別にビビってなんかいねえだろ。
当たり前です。
了解。だけど油断はしないようにね。
And so the three of us walked in. The entrance was tight, but the inside was decently wide and tall. The path was a slight downward slope. We began walking down, and after about 2 minutes, the space billowed out enough to let 10 people walk side by side.
驚きですね。これは
This
想像以上
place is kind of disgusting, dude.
ここまで一本道だから迷うことはありませんが、それでも尋常じゃない感じですよ。
You think this is man-made?
同感ね。それに気づいてる？
What the hell is that?
洞窟、螺旋状になってるわよ。
The path was constantly curving, so I had the same impression. Combined with the fact that we were going downward, it was fair to assume the overall design was a spiral.
だったら一体何なんだよ。
ですね、わからないんですか？つまりこの洞窟は立体的な意味を持つということですよ。これで特定の区画ごとに仕掛けが施されていたら、一種の陣を描くのかもしれません。
例えば俯瞰で見るとペンタグラムやヘキサグラムに、まああり得ることよね。
So you think the cave is some kind of magic circle or something? Or hexagram or whatever? Looked around and didn't notice anything strange. Sure, we didn't have any sources of light on us, but that didn't stop me from seeing the inside of the cave down to the finest details. Our eyesight was, and still is, too good for normal darkness to cause us any problems. Keyword
早計
normal.
よベイ。もう少しで最初の円を一回りする。何かあるとすればそろそろだと思うから。
The moment she warned me, oh boy. And it gets silent. What the hell? I stepped into emptiness. It surprised me, but the lack of a falling sensation made it clear I didn't just walk into some hole. Even so, I couldn't feel anything beneath my feet, not to mention that I couldn't see anything. Again, my eyesight isn't normal. I'm confident it outclasses those crappy night vision scopes. Despite that, I couldn't see a single inch in front of me. I felt like I'd been ejected into outer space or something.
こりゃまたやるじゃねえか。
Indeed it is. But exactly because of that, the situation actually brought me great joy. Sure, it pissed me off that they got me first, but it was clear that I'd finally found a proper opponent. I also realized that I'd been separated from Babylon and Beatrice. I couldn't see them, of course, but I couldn't even feel their presence either. For all I knew, they might have been right next to me, but the darkness was far too thick for me to know. It had both the density and the quality to cut off not just vision, but other senses too.
で、一体どうしてくれるんだ?
Now that I'd activated a trap, there were many exciting twists and turns I could experience. I gave the opponent a moment to make their move, but the darkness and the silence remained unchanging.
武将な野郎め、来いってか。
It was hard to call it walking when I didn't actually feel anything beneath my feet, but that was more or less what I started doing. I didn't know about the others, but I obviously wasn't the type to be scared of the dark. I unhesitatingly continued forward, fully intent on making something happen. I hoped to see something tasteful, something stimulating. That was pretty much the only thing on my mind. My heart was hungering for thrill. What I got, though, was nothing I expected.
また失敗した。
What the hell? A voice resounded through the darkness. It was a woman's lament, dense with shame and indignation.
なんでうまくいかない？これだけのことをしてきて、今さらダメだったじゃ済まされないのに。
Babylon?
結果を出さなければ、すべてが無駄になってしまうだけじゃないの。
Babylon, get a hold of yourself, or is this Babylon's past? I recognized the voice. It belonged to a person I knew pretty well, a woman I just talked to a few moments ago. Even so, I could tell it wasn't the same person talking. Her words were completely unrelated to the situation at hand, after all.
でもただのまやかしってわけじゃねえな。
It was very real, in fact. It was the truth about the woman known as Lisa Brenner.
立ち止まるわけにはいかない。
How old is this? Suddenly, a strange vision expanded before me.
もう一度
You just had to start with the boobs, didn't it?
間違ったのはどこか。どの段階で私はいらぬ手を加えたのか。いいえ違う。私は何をやらなかったのか。
It was a tasteless, sterile-looking room. In it, there was a woman moaning out her words as her cheeks shook with fright. She was clearly at her wit's end. The panic, irritation, and fear in her expression weren't enviable in the least. From what I could tell, she'd barely bathed, ate, or slept recently. Her hair was greasy, her clothes were worn out, and her cheeks were thin. Despite it all, however, her tired eyes were burning with passion. She looked like a soldier on the verge of snapping after being thrown into the worst battlefield imaginable. Hell, all the death and absurdity in the room made it feel much like a battlefield in and of itself.
こりゃまたやるもんだ。話には聞いてたが、なるほど。こいつは確かにバビロンか。
The woman was surrounded by countless corpses. Well, that's creepy. At first, it didn't look like they had any wounds, but that made the scene even more eerie. I couldn't tell which of the brats were boys or girls, considering they were all under 10. What? That probably wasn't all that special, but I could tell that it was mostly due to their effed up upbringing. Warped environment makes for warped growth. Just like brats brought up by wolves grew up to think they were wolves, so too did the corpses here look like they hadn't led a normal human life. Coming from me, that must be pretty rich. Now that you think about it, that's the irony of that. Still, the scene was both grotesque and somewhat divine. In a way, these genderless brats were like angels. Their brains were tampered with to open the channels of consciousness unused by normal people, forcing them to see colors and hear sounds imperceivable by anyone else. Interacting with such things had caused them to break under the weight of their own power. Evolution, eugenics, and the children of the sun, the third Rish's future, the creation of the Ubermensch. That was Lisa Brenner's goal, and the result was staring me in the face. These angels weren't blowing the trumpets of blessing. The woman's castle, ironically called the Fount of Life, was a place that only created more death. What of it though? Was there any point in showing that vision to me? It made me feel kind of funny and stupid, like I had walked in on someone I knew like having sex, but that was the extent of it. I didn't see the meaning behind the show. Ignoring my conclusion, the scene continued.
サイキックを生むという方針そのものは間違ってない。危うい思想ではあるけれど、今さら綺麗事がまかり通る世界じゃないのよ。博愛と平等を謳ったところで戦争は終わらないから。終わらせるには圧倒的な力。それを生み出す正義の鼓舞。どこもかしこも自分たちが世界一優秀な民族だと言っている。そう言っているだけだから戦況は混沌とするのよ。自負は形にしないと意味がない。我々の子供たちこそ新たな世界を担う進化した人類の先駆けだと。内外に見せつけるには少しくらい頭や見た目がいいというだけじゃ足りない。
Yeah, she's really out of it.
人類にはできないことができる。その枠を超えた存在だと認めさせる。 そのためにはサイキック問答無用で一目瞭然。
Miracles brought humans to their knees. They feared and revered them. After all, no one would resist a country full of people who could fly. Our relationship with Lord Hadrich was similar. Hell, you could say the same about most religions. Everyone would follow the words of someone who could come back from the dead or predict the future. Of course, I can see Babylon's point. If a man's lot in war was to bleed on the battlefield and a woman's was to birth and nurture children, her ultimate goal is to create an evolved next generation. If the Third Reich could mass produce psychics, it would instantly be considered a glorious land chosen by God or whatever. That notion might seem simplistic, but when crap turns way too convoluted, it's the basic punches that deal the most damage. If you ask me, to seize control over something huge like a world war, you need a degree of clarity most would consider effing stupid. I mean, World War II resulted in the creation of the nukes. Back then, in terms of ridiculousness, that was pretty much the equivalent of flying psychics.
だからここまで私は間違っていない。サイキックを生む方法も9割方確立している。ただ
What?
問題は
Babylon looked around. All she saw were the corpses of the little angels.
それに耐えられる子がいないということ。汎用性が全くない。
The fact that you could just massacre children like this, you should be ashamed of
じゃ
yourself.
あもっと基準を下げるべき？それは本末転倒というものでしょう。むしろ今はとことんまで性能を突き詰めた原種を生むことに注力した方がいい。ここで妥協をしないことが続くすべての底上げにつながるはずだし、最初の成功がなければ次もないから。この子たちの犠牲を無駄にはしない。してはいけない。そのためにはやはり。
She bit her finger, her legs shook, and her face turned pale, giving me a good idea of what she was thinking. I wasn't completely clueless back then, and hell, it was a pretty damn simple train of thought.
天学。天才の子は天才で、超人の子は超人。
Mixing the army's elites and women from some respected household wasn't enough to create super brats. Because of that, there was only one answer.
私が産むしかないわけね。
One of the claws and fangs of the gold, a knight of the obsidian round table, Lisa Brenner herself, was a fitting mother to a superhuman. It was only obvious, in fact, you'd expect it to be the first thing she ever tried, and from what I've heard, she actually did just that tons of times too.
だけど、どうしたら私に子供が、誰と、どんなに、どれほどしてもお腹に命が宿らない。最大の欠陥は、つまるところ、私の資質。これほどたくさんの子供を殺し、愛もなく男性とつながってきた私じゃ、母になる資格はないというの。
The irony of this.
でも、だったら、本当にどうしようも。
Her panic and fear was alien to me. Obviously, unless we're shooting blanks or something, we men have hundreds of chances to make a brat with a single release. Oh, okay. A barren field, though, doesn't bear any fruit, so it's clearly much harsher for women. Considering the situation, the only logical conclusion was that there was something wrong with her womb. Funnily enough, Babylon, whose goal was the birth of the ultimate human, found an impassable barrier in infertility. Just as she'd said, without a single success, she would never have a second one. I don't know. I don't even know what to say to this scene, dude. Like, she's literally in a room with like dozens of freaking corpses of children under 10 years old. Regardless of their goal, that definitely wasn't something a mass murderer of other people's brats had any right to say. Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. Like, all irony aside though, this was definitely a prime example of a woman giving in to madness. Because of that, oh, are you kidding me? I half expected the voice I heard next. The words were accompanied by a storm of visual static. Here we go. Here we go. Oh gosh. I could feel the woman's surprise in her tone. The magician ignored it and continued blessing her with his mercurial curse. Alright, so can you stop speaking like that and get to the point? What he was telling her to do was...